Published 0802 EDT, the 3rd of September 2017. Updated on 913 EDT, the 3rd of September 2017. Donald Trump has dismissed attempts to appease North Korea and warned that the rogue state's officials only understand one thing in a string of tweets following the detonation of a hydrogen bomb in the country. In a series of messages made around 7:45 am Sunday, the president wrote, "North Korea has conducted a major nuclear test. Their words and actions continue to be very hostile and dangerous to the United States. North Korea is a rogue nation which has become a great threat and embarrassment to China, which is trying to help but with little success. South Korea is finding, as I have told them, that their talk of appeasement with North Korea will not work. They only understand one thing that came as U.S. and South Korean officials agreed to make a military response to the detonation of the bomb, which occurred at 11:30 p.m. Est on Sunday, as soon as possible. The 100-kiloton bomb, which is so powerful that it could vaporize an entire city, caused an earthquake measuring 6.3 on the 9-point Richter scale." Scroll down for video. Donald Trump made a string of fiery tweets following the test of a hydrogen bomb by North Korea that triggered a massive earthquake in the eastern country. He said that the country had been an embarrassment to China, whom he has long tried to encourage to intervene on America's behalf. The president concluded with a worrying warning that appeasement with North Korea will not work and that the North Korean government only understand one thing. The South Korean Army took part in military exercises in Paju on Sunday, as the hydrogen bomb test created a 6.3 magnitude artificial earthquake. In an early morning phone call, Gen. Joseph Dunford, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, promised the support and cooperation to his South Korean counterpart. Gen. Jung Kyung-do, Yonhap reported. Jung's office said that the pair had agreed to discuss all military measures against the North. It also said that Gen. Vincent K. Brooks, commander of the U.S. Forces Korea and the Allies Combined Forces Command, agreed shortly after the detonation to take action as soon as possible. In a press release, the Joint Chiefs of Staff's press office warned that the U.S. and South Korea would show their powerful response through action, although there has been no confirmation of what that action might entail. UK Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson condemned the reckless nuclear weapon test and stressed that all options are on the table when pressed on military action. But he warned the distance between North Korea and Seoul is very, very small. They could basically vaporize large parts of the South Korean population even with conventional weapons. The hydrogen bomb, which is powerful enough to destroy a city, sparked a powerful 6.3 magnitude earthquake amid an escalating nuclear crisis. The terrifying tremor was detected in the northeast of the country where the Punggye-ri test site is located, but was so strong that it shook buildings in China and Russia. South Korea and the U.S. are now planning military action to be taken against North Korea as soon as possible, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. But the raw power of the bomb, which has a 100-kiloton yield, around 5 times bigger than that dropped on Nagasaki, isn't the only threat it faces to the U.S. North Korea's state news agency warned that the weapon is a multifunctional thermonuclear nuke with great destructive power, which can be detonated even at high altitudes for superpowerful EMP attack. An EMP electromagnetic pulse is a wave emitted from nuclear explosions that scrambles electronics, much like a sudden power surge can overload a power outlet. But an EMP is far, far worse. A nuclear bomb detonated high in the atmosphere could knock out the power grid across a swath of the continental U.S. or even all of it. That would leave hospitals without power, civilian and government agencies unable to coordinate, and the fabric of society unraveling fast. I think this is the principal, the most important and dangerous threat to the United States. James Woolsey, former chief of the Central Intelligence Agency from 1993 to 1995, told the San Diego Union Tribune in March. If you look at the electric grid and what it's susceptible to, we would be moving into a world with no food delivery, no water purification, no banking, no telecommunications, no medicine. All of these things depend on electricity in one way or another. The higher the bomb is detonated, the wider the EMP's range of effect. A bomb detonated 19 miles above the center of the country would affect all of Kansas and Nebraska, almost all of South Dakota, and substantial chunks of surrounding states. Theoretically, a sufficiently powerful bomb detonated at an altitude of 249 miles would wipe out all electronics in the U.S., save the southernmost top of Florida and the easternmost states, as well as affecting Canada and Mexico. North Korea usually times its detonations for its national holidays, and so many would have expected a detonation on September 9, which is North Korea's Day of the Foundation of the Republic. Instead, it came during the Labor Day weekend, likely a direct attempt to spite the U.S. foreign policy suggested. Yonhap, South Korea's official news agency, reports the quake struck where North Korea's nuclear test site Punggye-ri is located. North Korean state television claimed the country's sixth nuclear test, 10 times more powerful than its fifth, was a perfect success and could pave the way for a frightening new range of missiles loaded with hydrogen bombs. It added that the underground test, which was directly ordered by leader Kim Jong-un, was a meaningful step in completing the country's nuclear weapons program. The worrying development comes amid heightened tensions following Pyongyang's test launch of 2 missiles in July that potentially could hit major mainland U.S. cities. The regime frequently flaunts its intercontinental ballistic missile technology and has repeatedly tested hydrogen bombs but has so far been unable to combine the two into a lethal weapon. However, Jong-un claims the latest explosive, which seismologists calculated to be 8 times as damaging as the Hiroshima nuclear bomb dropped by the U.S. in World War II, could be packed into a warhead and fired towards U.S. territory. North Korean television today released these photos appearing to show Kim Jong-un signing the order to carry out the test. Kim Jong-un left appears to sign the order right, asking his scientists to proceed with the test. The sudden escalation comes after months of postulating from North Korea and America, with a war of words between the two countries spiraling into a series of escalating weapons tests by Pyongyang. It has seen Jong-un flaunting his military might with increasingly powerful missiles in a bid to scare off his enemies, while branding world leaders puppets and bragging that an attempt to locate his missiles was a silly dream. Meanwhile, Donald Trump had promised fire and fury like the world has never seen if North Korea continued to test missiles. Today's blast, which was large enough to destroy an entire city, has sparked an international backlash, with South Korea pledging to completely isolate North Korea and deploy the most powerful U.S. tactical weapons. In a joint statement, German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron branded the test a new dimension of provocation and said the EU and the UN Security Council must respond. The earthquake came after North Korea claimed it had developed a more advanced nuclear weapon. Photos released on Sunday show the country's leader Kim Jong-un inspecting a hydrogen bomb overhead. Pictures of Punggye-ri nuclear test site from August 17, published by 38 North, revealed Kim Jong-un could order a test blast at any time with minimal advance warning. Experts cite as National Security Advisor H.R. McMaster spoke to his South Korean counterpart in an emergency phone call following the tests, which was seen as a direct challenge to Trump. The American president had just hours earlier talked to Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe about the nuclear crisis in the region. Abe later slammed the test as absolutely unacceptable and said its nuclear and missile programs now pose a more grave and urgent threat to his country. He added, North Korea's nuclear and missile development program is a threat that is more grave and urgent to the safety of our country and has entered a new stage. It is significantly hurting regional and international peace and stability. China added that it resolutely opposes and strongly condemns the test while urging the rogue state to stop taking wrong actions. The announcement was delivered by news anchor Ri Chun-hee, pictured during the announcement Sunday, who has been making announcements on Korean Central Television for more than 40 years. North Koreans are pictured reacting with joy to the news of the latest nuclear test. Meanwhile, Russia urged calm and warned Pyongyang to refrain from any actions that lead to a further escalation of tension. Photographs released today appeared to show Kim signing the order to carry out the test blast, which seismologists calculate was 8 times as damaging as the nuclear bomb dropped on Hiroshima by the U.S. in World War II. The shock news was delivered on state television by veteran anchor Ri Chun-hee, who has become the face of North Korean media after delivering major propaganda announcements from the rogue state for the past 40 years. A statement from the country read, scientists in the nuclear field of the DPRK, Democratic People's Republic of Korea, successfully carried out a test of H-bomb for ICBM intercontinental ballistic missile in the northern nuclear test ground of the DPRK at 1200 on September 2, true to the Workers' Party of Korea's plan for building a strategic nuclear force. Just hours earlier, the country claimed it had developed a more advanced nuclear weapon with great destructive power. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff in Seoul said it had detected a seismic wave from 12:34 p.m. to 12:36 p.m. on Sunday around Punggye-ri. The country's weather agency and the Joint Chiefs of Staff said an artificial 5.7 magnitude quake occurred at 12:29 p.m. local time, in Kilyu, northern Hamgyong province, the site where North Korea has conducted nuclear tests in the past. Seoul officials revised their earlier estimate of 5.6 magnitude quake. The U.S. Geological Survey called the first quake an explosion with a magnitude of 6.3. South Korea's presidential office also said it would hold a National Security Council meeting chaired by President Moon Jae-in. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said it is absolutely unacceptable if North Korea did force another nuclear test, and we must protest strongly. China's earthquake administration detected a second tremor of magnitude 4.6 in North Korea minutes after the first. It described the event as a cave-in. South Korea's weather agency, however, said no second quake happened. Citizens of the North Korean capital Pyongyang gathered around a screen showing the order signed by Kim Jong-un authorizing the nuclear test. Meanwhile, in Japan, pedestrians were shocked as they walked past a monitor revealing news of the blast. A U.S. researcher told the BBC that if the earthquake was caused by a nuclear blast, it would be the largest atomic test conducted by North Korea. Dave Schmerler, of the James Martin Center for Non-Proliferation Studies, added, "We should definitely be alarmed." Japan's Ministry of Defense has dispatched 3 military jets to test for radiation despite North Korea's claims that radioactive material did not leak into the environment. Tremors caused by the nuclear test were at least 10 times as powerful as the last time Pyongyang exploded an atomic bomb a year ago, the Japan Meteorological Agency said at a briefing aired by public broadcaster NHK. The previous nuclear blast in North Korea is estimated by experts to have been around 10 kilotons. South Korea's Defense Committee says the blast was about 100 kilotons, powerful enough to destroy an entire city, BBC reports. Residents in the Vladivostok in eastern Russia said they felt the tremors. North Korea conducted its fifth test last September, which has also caused a massive earthquake. Here are key dates in the North's quest to develop a nuclear-tipped missile capable of hitting the United States. Late 1970s, North Korea starts working on a version of the Soviet SCUDB range, 300 kilometers or 185 miles. Test fired in 1984.198792 begins developing variant of SCUDC range 500 kilometers, Rodong-1 1,300 kilometers, Taepodong-1 2,500 kilometers, Musudan-1 3,000 kilometers and Taepodong-2 6,700 kilometers. August 1998 test fires Taepodong-1 rocket over Japan in what it calls a satellite launch. The US and others say it is a missile test. September 1999 declares moratorium on long-range missile tests amid improving ties with U.S. July 12, 2000 fifth round of U.S.-North Korean missile talks in Kuala Lumpur ends without agreement after North demands $1 billion a year in return for halting missile exports. March 3, 2005 Pyongyang ends moratorium on long-range missile testing, blames Bush administration's hostile policy. July 5, 2006 test fires 7 missiles, including a long-range Taepodong-2 which explodes after 40 seconds. October 9, 2006 conducts underground nuclear test, its first. April 5, 2009 launches long-range rocket which flies over Japan and lands in the Pacific, in what it says is an attempt to put a satellite into orbit. The United States, Japan and South Korea see it as a disguised test of a Taepodong-2. May 25, 2009 conducts its second underground nuclear test, several times more powerful than the first. April 13, 2012 launches what it has said is a long-range rocket to put a satellite into orbit but which disintegrates soon after blastoff. December 12, 2012 launches a multi-stage rocket and successfully places an Earth observational satellite in orbit. February 12, 2013 conducts its third underground nuclear test. January 6, 2016 conducts its fourth underground nuclear test, which it says was a hydrogen bomb, a claim doubted by most experts. March 9, 2016 Kim Jong-un claims the North has successfully miniaturized a thermonuclear warhead. April 23, 2016 Pyongyang test fires a submarine-launched ballistic missile. July 8, 2016 U.S. and South Korea announce plans to deploy an advanced missile defense system THAAD terminal high-altitude area defense. August 3, 2016 North Korea fires a ballistic missile directly into Japan's maritime economic zone for the first time. September 9, 2016 conducts fifth nuclear test, its most powerful to date. March 6, 2017 fires 4 ballistic missiles in what it says is an exercise to hit U.S. bases in Japan. March 7, 2017 U.S. begins deploying THAAD missile defense system in South Korea. May 14, 2017 North Korea fires a ballistic missile which flies 700 kilometers before landing in the Sea of Japan. Analysts say it has an imputed range of 4,500 kilometers 2,800 miles and brings Guam within reach. July 4, 2017 test fires a ballistic missile that analysts say brings Alaska within reach. Pyongyang later says it was a landmark test of a Hwasong-14 intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM. July 28, 2017 launches an ICBM with a theoretical range of 10,000 kilometers, meaning it could hit much of the United States. August 26, 2017 fires 3 short-range ballistic missiles. August 29, 2017 fires ballistic missile over Japan and into the Pacific, acknowledging for the first time that it has done so. South Korea says it flew around 2,700 kilometers at a maximum altitude of about 550 kilometers. September 3, 2017 North Korea appears to carry out 6th nuclear test with seismic monitors measuring an explosion of 6.3 magnitude near its main test site. Japan's government confirms a nuclear test has been carried out. Photos released on Sunday show the country's leader inspecting the hydrogen bomb that will be loaded on a new intercontinental ballistic missile. Its power is adjustable and can be detonated at high altitudes. The regime claimed it can build as many of the nuclear weapons as it wishes. In the report about the new bomb Kim was seen inspecting, North Korea's Korean Central News Agency added Kim Jong-un said he felt the pride at the indomitably bolstering up of North Korea's nuclear forces despite a great price as he watched the Juche-oriented thermonuclear weapon with super explosive power made by our own efforts and technology. He expressed great satisfaction over the fact that our scientists can do anything without fail if the party is determined to do. The scientists further upgraded its technical performance at a higher ultra-modern level on the basis of precious successes made in the first H-bomb test. There will be some skepticism about the claim from experts about Pyongyang's assertion that it has mastered hydrogen technology. Still, North Korea is increasingly putting leaders on edge as the isolated country continues to push its limits in regards to building up weaponry and firing off missiles. Photos released Sunday show the country's leader Kim Jong-un inspecting a hydrogen bomb that will be loaded on a new intercontinental ballistic missile. The hydrogen bomb's power is adjustable and can be detonated at high altitudes. Kim pictured in photos released Sunday. This picture released by the North Korean government late last week shows the last test launch by the country on Monday. North Korea, which sees the exercises as preparations for invasion, raised the stakes in its standoff with the United States and its allies by firing an intermediate-range missile over Japan. 1st October 9, 20,000 62nd May 25, 20,000 93rd February 12, 20,134th January 6, 20,165th September 9, 2016 Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe called the move an unprecedented threat to his country. In a show of force with South Korea, Trump conducted bombing drills along the border on Thursday, and a clear warning to following another ballistic missile from Kim Jong-un launch earlier this week. On Thursday, Korean Central News Agency denounced the military drills in robust fashion, calling them the rash act of those taken aback by the missile tests, which it described as the first military operation in the Pacific. Japan Meteorological Agency's Earthquake and Tsunami Observations Division Director Toshiyuki Matsumori points at graphs of ground motion waveform data observed in Japan during a news conference on Sunday following the earthquake felt in North Korea. President Trump, who has warned that his military is locked and loaded in case of North Korean provocation, reacted angrily to the missile test over Japan. France's foreign minister said on Friday that North Korea would have capability to send long-range ballistic missiles in a few months and urged China to be more active diplomatically to resolve the crisis. The situation is extremely serious. We see North Korea setting itself as an objective to have tomorrow or the day after missiles that can transport nuclear weapons. In a few months that will be a reality, Genevieve Le Drian told RTL Radio. At the moment, when North Korea has the means to strike the United States, even Europe, but definitely Japan and China, then the situation will be explosive. North Korea must find the path to negotiations. It must be diplomatically active. He declared on Twitter that talking is not the answer to resolving the crisis over North Korea's weapons programs. U.S. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis was quick on Wednesday to stress that a diplomatic solution remained possible. On Thursday he told reporters he agreed with Trump that Washington should not be talking right now to a nation that is firing missiles over the top of Japan, an ally. White House spokeswoman Sarah Huckabee Sanders reiterated at a regular briefing on Thursday that all options, diplomatic, economic and military, remained on the table. Japanese Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera spoke to Mattis by telephone and agreed to keep putting pressure on North Korea in a visible form, Japan's defense ministry said. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe said he and visiting British Prime Minister Theresa May agreed to urge China, North Korea's lone major ally, to do more to rein in North Korea. North Korea said in August it was carefully examining a plan to strike the U.S. Pacific territory of Guam with missiles, just hours after President Donald Trump told the country that any threat to the U.S. would be met with fire and fury. A spokesman for the Korean People's Army, in a statement carried by the North's state-run KCNA news agency, said the strike plan will be put into practice in a multi-current and consecutive way any moment once Leader Kim makes a decision. A man looks at a TV news screen in Tokyo reporting North Korea's nuclear test. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe pictured said it is absolutely unacceptable if North Korea did force another nuclear test, and we must protest strongly. President Donald Trump tweeted that talking is not the answer to dealing with North Korea. The United States flew some of its most advanced warplanes in bombing drills with ally South Korea on Thursday, a clear warning to North Korea. Above 2 U.S. Marine Corps F-35 fighter jets participating in the live-fire drill. North Korea last year conducted its fourth and fifth nuclear tests, saying the fourth in January 2016 was a successful hydrogen bomb test, although outside experts questioned whether it was a full-fledged hydrogen bomb. The fifth nuclear test in September 2016 was measured to be possibly North Korea's biggest detonation ever, but the earthquake it caused was still not believed to be big enough to demonstrate a thermonuclear test. Satellite images suggested North Korean military base was ready for a new test. Satellite images taken last month suggested North Korea was ready to carry out a sixth nuclear bomb test. The overhead pictures of Punggye-ri nuclear test site, in the country's northeast, revealed Kim Jong-un could order a test blast at any time with minimal advance warning, experts said. There were fears the tyrant may choose September 9, North Korea's day of the foundation of the republic, to carry out the trial. The same date was chosen last year by North Korea to conduct its fifth nuclear test, marking the 68 years since Kim Il-sung came to power. The satellite images from August 27 suggested North Korea was ready to carry out a sixth nuclear bomb test. The facility in northeastern North Korea remains on standby, according to experts. Satellite pictures released by 38 North showed minor movements at Punggye-ri, suggesting that the site was on standby. The think tank said as long as the site remains in standby status, we cannot rule out that a sixth nuclear test could be conducted at any time with minimal advance warning. But it added that the images do not provide observable corroborative evidence that the DPRK is about to conduct another underground nuclear test immediately. Instead, the DPRK has, since April 2017, continued to maintain the site at a high state of readiness such that it could conduct a test on short notice, whenever the political decision is made to proceed with another test or tests. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has a secret son who is heir to his brutal regime, it has been claimed. The dictator has 3 children with his wife Ri Sol-hee, but the gender of the couple's first, who was born in 2010, has never been revealed. It was previously revealed that Sol-hee had given birth to a daughter 6 months ago. The First Lady had disappeared for an extended period last year, raising speculation that she could be pregnant. According to previous intelligence reports from Seoul's spy agency, Ri married Kim in 2009 and gave birth to their first child the following year, with their second born in 2013. Kim is the third generation of his dynasty to rule North Korea, but little has been revealed about the country's first family.